Excellent. So do you have time to talk to me for a bit or?
Yeah, let's do it. I think that'd be,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect, perfect. I guess what I would like to talk to you about, Tom, is just what we were talking about earlier, that this misnomer, misconception that just because people are bigger, they can't move or they can't do things or stuff like that. And I believe that it's created almost this you get scared. People are scared to even try. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's right. And it sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and
Right.
also an excuse if you're feeling lazy. And so I think, I mean, obviously you've been enormously encouraging with it all, but also you sort of take inspiration from observing other people do it. I mean, if Andy Ruiz Jr. can go 7 rounds against Anthony Joshua and beat him and win the world heavyweight title, I mean, that's a level of cardio that most people don't have. And,
True. And they're big boys,
the
right?
big boys and obviously some of the open weight judoka are enormous. I mean, the people who've gone to the Olympics who are my size now,
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's just kind of exploding those sort of myths. And also I think realizing that for everyone, movement's really important and really good. So I made a decision quite early on when I realized I, really wanted to get fitter, and I do want to lose weight. Not to do a kind of extreme low calorie approach,
Yeah.
um, for various reasons. One of which is that you just can't really do any appreciable exercise if you're in that much calorific deficit, and I don't think that's good for you at all.
Well, and what I liked when you came to me was that you're like, look, I just want to lose weight. I don't want to be skinny. I don't
Yeah,
want to be body beautiful. I like being big. I like being strong. I want to be healthy. That is my goal. And I think that's a really great mindset going into it.
yeah, absolutely. And that's obviously one of the big. It's really off-putting if you're kind of told that the ideal is to be thin. I mean, I think it's a much more um, recognizable phenomenon with women, but it happens with men as well.
Sure.
Um, and I guess I'm lucky in that I have a you know pretty decent self-awareness, and also I like myself more than sometimes people might think I do. And yeah, no, exactly. So
Well, and your motivation is second to none. I mean, we've been doing this for, oof, well, it can't be quite a year yet, but at least 6, 7 months, haven't
yeah,
we?
I think we started in November, and it's
Yeah.
late June now. That's a really interesting point. So my motivation is really strong, but it hasn't been in the past. And I think a lot of what gets called laziness or lack of willpower or a kind of lack of motivation is actually not seeing a pathway. So if you have convinced yourself sincerely that nothing can be done,
Sure.
then not trying is rational. It's not lazy, it's rational. If you think there is no way through, then of course you're not going
Well,
to.
and you've got a peanut gallery as well that's helping you along in that thought process, right? They're telling you as well that no, oh, you should be careful and you shouldn't do this and
Yeah, yeah,
shouldn't do that. And so you've got an audience who's supporting you, but maybe not in the right way.
yeah, that's right. I mean, there are so many myths about all this, all this kind of stuff, I think. Um, and Another thing that was really kind of positive for me, because you're always encouraged when people are often with good intentions, not always, but often when they're trying to motivate you, they sort of tell you all the terrible things that can happen if you're not healthy, like you don't know them, by the way. I mean, that's one of the help.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's sort of it occurred to me that actually it'd be good to focus on positives, on things I'd be able to do by
Hmm.
getting fitter. And I'd always been interested in judo, and that's how I ended up just taking a deep breath and writing to Neil and saying, look, here's the deal. I'm, in my late 40s. I'm really overweight, but I'm just kind of thinking of things I'll be able to do if I could get in shape. And, you know, thinking it as likely as not that he would say, actually, it's too late now. You know, you need to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or something like that. But not at all. He wrote me a very nice, considered email. But then he mentioned you and the work that you've started to do. And I mean, I'll tell this story because it's quite funny.
I don't know. Is it a good one?
No, it is a good one. It is a good one. But it sort of said you do a lot of work with Swiss balls, and funny to say it now, given how much I love the Swiss ball, that I did sort of think, I'm not sure that's for me. But I ordered some products from your website, and the mail screwed up, and you kindly delivered them. And then I said, "Oh, do you want to pop in and use the loo?" And not in the loo. You stayed for about.
Yeah.
And I thought, well,
it was a long drive.
That's great. And I just kind of knew I wanted to work with you, and so I took a bit of a kind of deep breath, and because I was quite trepidatious about the ball, and lo and behold, you know, really loved it. And I think when you're on a journey, you can't just think about the destination, and there's really something to be said. I've just started reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and one of them is you've got to compare yourself, not to someone else, but compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And I think knowing you're kind of on track is just so liberating.
Well, that's what we work with, is the progression points, isn't it? So it is taking little steps. Of course, we've got the goal at the end. That's where we want to be. But it's, I guess, managing expectations as well, but celebrating, like you say, the journey along, like we're celebrating the progression. Would you mind sharing just when you first tried the ball, were you pleasantly surprised, or were you like, what am I doing? Or, you know, what were your feelings getting the ball for the first time?
Yeah, no, very, very pleasantly surprised. Some things took a while to get used to in terms of kind of being able to do them, but no, I liked it straight away. I mean, I couldn't believe how comfortable it was, and it's.
You're sitting on it right now, aren't you?
I'm sitting on it now.
Chair. Yeah.
So I've always hated chairs without back supports, hate stools and that kind of stuff, and so that was one of the things. I thought, well, I'm just going to hate this, but it just really centers you. And I mean, so here's another myth. I mean, I've got a really big tummy, and people would say, oh, that means you must have weak stomach muscles. But it turns out I've got really strong stomach muscles, but they've got stronger and stronger from sitting like this. And my core, is just kind of getting so strong. No, I like the ball straight away. And it meant I could do things, more versions of things that I can't yet do without it, because it is so supportive, but also progressive. I mean, that's another thing. I didn't understand what you meant when you said, I mean, how can a ball, which is a sphere, be progressive? But of course, it's about how much you're on it or off it, and the movements. I have a really nice recurring dream, which is that I can walk on my hands, which I've never actually been able to do. I don't know whether it's but yeah, I'll routinely dream I can sort of walk on my hands, which I'd love to be able to do. And I can do a version of that on the ball, and it's great just kind of going up and down on it. So yeah, and I thought some of the kind of movements would maybe feel a bit weird and uncomfortable, and that's not been the case at all. So
we're doing squats, we're doing low squats, right? You're getting down to 90 degrees, if not more.
Yeah.
We're doing sit-ups, we're doing back extensions, and then using the bands as well. We're getting some judo movements in there. So we've already started your judo training, which is fun. And we're getting some cardio on the ball as well, with some bouncing movements and arm leg coordination. So we're hitting the dance button on you.
We're hitting the dance button, yeah. So that's another really fascinating thing, is how my tastes have kind of expanded. So, I wasn't overweight as a kid at all, and I was kind of big and strong and really enjoyed that. Never enjoyed cardio stuff. I mean, the only kind of thing that I suppose is cardio that I've enjoyed is dancing. But I'm becoming really interested in cardio now, and in muscular endurance. Maybe with the cardio, it was one thing that helped was reading Neil say that the heart's a muscle that you've got to exercise as well. So that appealed to the macho side of me. But I mean, just the kind of the enjoyment I've been getting from working with you with it all. It's really nice, and that kind of a kind of farm strength where you can just kind of do more work, which obviously is really useful for judo. Having been interested in kind of explosive movements like, you know, 1 rep squats or deadlifts or whatever, to kind of be able to keep going, that's really great. And as a big man, it's very reassuring. And now that I'm getting my diet in check, I think the excess weight is going to melt off. Because nothing wrong with wanting to be in shape, but there's 2 things. One, that you don't need to look like a guy on the front of a Men's Health magazine, and 2, that you can still improve your fitness, you know, while you're big. So no, it's been a wholly positive experience.
Excellent. So is there anything that you would say to other people who are maybe a bit shy about starting? I don't like to call it exercise, I like to call it physical wellness. So like a physical wellness program, or, I mean, you love the ball. Do you think people would enjoy it?
I do. And, you know, I'm very confident at talking. Words are what I do for a living. And so I'm probably seeming more confident than in some ways I am. I was very nervous about it all. I mean, the night before you came, I was, for our first session, I was really, you know, I was quite sort of, quite contemplative and worried. And I would genuinely say, if I can do it, anyone can. And that you'll start seeing positive changes in the first session. Also, I mean, you're incredibly considerate and kind, and the balance is absolutely right between being challenging but also understanding. You know,
We're all going to have good days, bad days. And what I love about our sessions, Tom, is that even though you're having maybe an off day, you still chug through it. You know what I mean? We still bite our way through it and we complete it. And and more often than not, at the end of it, we've gone, yeah, done it. And sometimes those are the bigger wins, aren't they?
Big wins, and you know, some of the best sessions, I've kind of felt very sluggish, but so many things that I didn't expect, like, you know, looking forward to it the night before and being happy to get out of bed early, because we do our sessions before the working day just because that's easiest for me to fit in. And you know, I now like getting up in time. So again, the sort of my tastes are changing. The other thing that you're too discreet to ask me about, but I'm happy to volunteer, is the wonders it's been doing for my mental health as well. You know, working up a sweat and exercising, you know, just does so much good. I've been having some kind of anxiety and panic attacks this week. I think a bad reaction to something I was taking, and it's been such a balm to kind of get a sweat on and work and move, and it really puts things in perspective, and it does clear the head. So,
well, and it's had a knock-on effect as well, hasn't it? Because you're outside now, whereas before you didn't take your breaks, getting some fresh air. We're gonna start walking. Yay! Can't wait. So, I mean, having those knock-on effects, again, little wins, little progression points, it's, I think a lot of people go, all right, I'm going to do this all at once, right? I'm going to eat right, and I'm going to move, and I'm going to do this, and they're trying to do it all at the same time, which is overwhelming, and they're just setting themselves up for disaster, really. It's not going to work. Whereas we've done it little by little, and then you've seen progression on the balls. You're like, you know what? I really want to start eating healthy, right? And so then you've got a nutritionist on board, and so it's worked in a I don't want to say a timeline, but it's been progressive, and it's come at the right time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That you're ready for it at that time. So then when you're ready for it, it's going to work, right?
You know, and you can't solve the world in a day, but you sort of find yourself making better progress than expected. I mean, there's been occasions when I've kind of, you said, okay, stop, and I've called up, actually, I want to do some more, please, which never would have expected. I think the other thing for me is I get bored easily, and the way we switch it all up for me is a huge bonus. You know, you do your thing, and then you then you go to something else, and then repeating the circuit, that's great fun as well, because you think, oh, I'll do it even better than last time.
That's
But
right.
I'm not someone who can just do the same humdrum thing for an hour.
No,
That's
I'm not either. I get bored too. All right, I got one last question for you. It's a double question. What
yeah.
is your favorite and least favorite ball exercise?
Well, I love the judo. Sorry, I've forgotten the technical term.
Ashiwaza, yeah.
I love doing that because that kind of gets me moving. I'm going to sound like a teacher's pet here, but I mean, the things that I find harder have given me a real sense of accomplishment. So
Sure.
the press-ups on the ball are probably, they're pretty difficult, but to be, almost doing the equivalent of a really heavy bench press, and to find myself getting better and my shoulders getting, moving better, that's been great. So that's been the most challenging one. That's probably one where you say, we'll do that now, and I sort of think, but there's so much to be said for going ahead anyway with something that makes you go, and then afterwards you feel great. So yeah, those are probably my favorite and the least favorite, but genuinely the ones that I find harder, I get a massive sense of accomplishment for. So they all kind of tick boxes ultimately.
Very diplomatic.
No,
You're only saying it so that I won't do it next session.
no.
We'll do double of them next time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks for that. I really appreciate that, Tom. That's I think that's going to be helpful for a lot of people to know that it's possible, and that Neil and I call this supported fitness, and it's because it does support you through the movement, and it helps you get from A to B, and do movements that either you were told or thought weren't possible.
Yeah. And I think I would just like to say, it's really great to have the encouragement, but anyone contemplating hiring you should know you're not just a cheerleader. I mean, you've brought so much.
A great cheerleader.
Well, no, I've learned so many things. Many of them that things are better than I had realised.
Well, your breathing was a big one, wasn't it? You found you were holding your breath during stuff.
I was holding my breath, and and my recovery is good. I didn't realise that could be a thing, someone my size, but I go from heavy exertion to, just feeling normal really quickly. And, I'm sure someone who hires you will realise they've got attributes they didn't know that they had. And of course, we'll develop them too. So, no, just dive in. That's my advice.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.